Hey guys, what is up? It's Dusty here and welcome back to another episode of the Daily Crypto News, recording it today from Stockholm, Sweden. And I'm actually pretty excited to share with you guys all the most important crypto news for today, because I was actually surprised by the fact that Bitcoin went to $25,000 over and over and over again, but really seems to not be able to breach it, which is funny because we actually had a very small experimental short open at $25.1 thousand, and it actually worked. Unfortunately, it was not much money. It's not really worth showcasing, but it's kind of funny that it just keeps on getting resisted at 25 point something thousand dollars, like we already talked about in our previous price talk video, I think a day or two ago. Sunday morning, I think it was. But today, in terms of price action, yeah, we're just waiting for that $25,000 barrier on Bitcoin, and that's about it. Don't have any crazy charts to show you, not anything in that nature. Just want to talk about all the most important news, as there's just a whole charade of different sorts of news. One thing I found that was interesting was this. Muscat. Crypto is an asset that we at the central bank and many central banks around the world do not recognize as a currency, shared the chief executive officer of the Central Bank of Oman. Now, I'm not surprised by these announcements because, well, he said it's not a means of payment, it's a commodity or an asset of some sort that is being traded mainly for capital gain. Like I was saying, I can understand this philosophy. I mean, from a central bank perspective, maybe they really are noticing the main reason after all their questionnaires, etc., all their surveys, is that people are not buying it as the same purpose as they would have with a currency. Then again, it's quite hard to describe exactly why people would buy other currencies except for capital gain or the literal usage of payment in that currency. Because I'm thinking, I just bought some Swedish krona today just for fun, for having it, right? Not as an investment, just to have some for fun. But I'm thinking about, well, exactly how do you describe buying a currency which mostly has utility? It's just not a concept that we know of before, right? It's not as any traditional currency that they're very much aware of. Anyway, to move on, a legal expert has no doubt Ripple will win legal war against the SEC. Can it supercharge XRP to $1? That was interesting. Now, what John Deaton said was the SEC, this is actually Stuart Alderoty of Ripple, who said the SEC has lost 4 of its 5 last cases in the Supreme Court, so one layer above. Thanks to the few that had the courage and resources to fight back against the SEC's bullying and clinging to stretch legal positions that were not faithful to the law. The point here being, potentially these cases were actually lost from the original point, but when taken to Supreme Court, they actually won, or in a different sense, the SEC might have had the overhead at some point, but eventually it was slammed back down. And what I fetch from that is, regardless of what happens to Ripple in the immediate term, lose or win or whatever verdict may happen, I think it will all be justified in due course anyway. Hence, I'm not too worried about whatever result comes out. I know on the short term, a negative result is not too nice. Again, short term, but over a year's period, I think still it will come out on top, and I think it will still make us crazy amounts of gains. Again, I'm not your financial advisor though. I have no doubt Ripple will win and the Supreme Court will shut down the SEC's gross overreach. The West Virginia versus EPA case is all you need to read to agree with me. Ripple's summary judgment brief is already an extremely well-written appellate brief, and for that reason, I'm thinking, well, Ripple, XRP, it's all in good hands. All it takes is just some time, but I believe in XRP as generational wealth, so I don't mind waiting a little bit. Alright guys, but before we move on, I want to quickly tell you guys again about one of the projects I'm buying into. Again, I promised you all a little bit earlier that whenever I'm buying into these pre-sales, whenever I'm buying a new token that's coming out that I think has some potential, I'm going to share it with you guys, and here is yet another one of these opportunities. Please understand, I am not your financial advisor, nor am I encouraging you to buy anything. All I'm simply doing is sharing whenever there are opportunities that are easier for the public to get access to. Sometimes, I guess not even, but that I'm basically buying into. Again, to give you guys a little bit of backing here, I buy into hundreds of projects every single year. At least that's what we did last year. We bought into a crazy amount. Some of them will fail, some of them will do extremely well. And in this case here, I know the guys. So it's called Leandro Lopes. I hope it's Lopes, not Lopez, but hey, sometimes you don't know for a fact. And they're a pretty big shoe or actually luxury fashion brand. Anyway, the reason I'm mentioning that here is because with these like walk to earn, move to earn, and things of that nature, a very big concept of it all, a very big part of it all has to do with branding and how do you put yourself out there? What makes people choose your project over the others when a lot of it is the same? So these guys are in that sense pretty unique as they actually have physical shoes and they're, well, in my own words, pretty popular already. So you have these real shoes that you can then mix with the app. And again, everything is already out there for the seeing if you guys want. But again, there's an actual physical, customizable actual shoe. I'm just kind of amazed that they actually have got this already. And again, you can just check out the actual brand online. They are in a lot of stores already, these shoes. Yeah, it's just a really interesting concept, you know? Actual shoe designers that went for a specific chipped shoe. You might see some concerns in that. That's all for yourself to look at. I just sometimes look at the dollar signs here, like with this project over here. Like the shoe, again, all up for your own debate. But I just don't like these generic little walk to earn type of concept. These guys are unique in what they're doing. I've been reading through this for a little bit, checked out to see how they're actually connected with the bunch. And again, these guys don't mess around, all right? Their marketing game is on freaking point. And that's making me think, well, if their marketing is this good with the influencers, right? Neymar, Offset, these are very, in my opinion, famous rappers right here. If they can get that done with their fashion brand, yeah, they can surely make a app like this pop off, right? For the normal people, so to speak. Again, can I guarantee for you guys that this will be the biggest success of all time? Absolutely not. Does that mean I'm not gonna freaking try? Oh boy, I will try, right? Everything is also public. It's not a shady a little project in the back end or anything in that sense. Just check everything out for yourself if you want to. But again, with these projects, I don't really think about it too much. I just go for it because most things just match up. And the risk to reward for me is a really good one. So again, I'll explain it a little bit more, but I'm actually going to be in a call with some of my friends here and some of the people in the Leandro Lopes team. And I tried to check, but unfortunately, I don't think they announced it over on their Twitter just quite yet. But there's going to be a live call, basically, or a little, panel discussion over on the 3rd of March with me and a couple of other cool people. So I recommend you guys to tune in for that. But more info about that I will share over on my Twitter. And again, just to simply put it again, it's just it's one of those apps. You probably know it exactly how it works. Walk to earn concept, but then with real life shoes. I'm gonna launch their main app in May, and they're gonna work on a lot of AR features over time. But again, more about that will be discussed later, so stick around for that. All right, now moving on, there's actually quite a ton of different pieces of crypto news here that I think are rather interesting. Like, for example, this article right here. Microsoft has apparently partnered with a crypto project named Anchor Network to offer enterprise services. And the negative part about this is whenever you read Microsoft has partnered up, usually it's regarding these hosting services, or like with Amazon is the AWS of sorts. It's not the greatest or craziest of new announcements. Nonetheless, these are the attention grabbers, right? They're giving themselves a lot of attention, and I don't think that's a bad thing because at the end of the day, I do believe, and I will stand by it, that they deserve it. And even though I'm not the biggest of Anchor holders, I'm still quite excited to see them make these new announcements. I am also always excited about Polygon, but I was not so happy to read about this. It's kind of sketchy to read it, but it's also not that big a deal, depending on how you view it. Anyway, by the way, I should say, Anchor did do very well in terms of price. I just think the announcement itself is a bit heavier than might meet the eye, but it could be a very big deal over time, right? It just depends on how exactly many they will partner with. The hosting service was built by combining Microsoft Cloud Platform with Anchor's blockchain. The only thing is, I don't know how often this will be done. According to the release, the service will be available via Microsoft's cloud solution. The price did pretty well because of it. I'm not sure if it pumped 60%, but it did pretty well. And again, it's the same as with Amazon type of partnerships. You just don't know how unique in that nature it's going to be. Anyway, with Polygon, they've laid off 20% of their workforce, consolidating with Polygon Labs. The whole point you need to understand is Polygon is doing very well in every single direction. The only problem is, well, crypto market is not as broad as it once was, and sometimes you're going a little bit too overzealous to burn your way into the future, go with a rocket ship, and sometimes that's just not the best way to go about it, which is what we're seeing here. They're taking it a little step back, and I appreciate that for being able to open up about it, and they've paid them royally. They've done a lot of good for these employees as well to make sure they're easy on their way out, and apparently they had a lot of different functions, and that's also a thing, right? If, for example, you're Polygon, you have potentially hundreds of people doing, in this case here, they only have about 500 people, so it's not too many, because it's a 20% headcount reduction. But potentially you have 100 people that are just doing research about potential other parts or coding for a specific piece that either might not be relevant anymore, might not be fully finished, or that's experimental, but just costing you money in a bear market because you're not trying to expand as much. Potentially they also have a full grant program, which they hire people from maybe, where you can hire 100 people that are just doing some odd jobs and things you might want to work on, if you understand my drift. But then as the market is not in the best of positions, you're like, well, let's get back to this when we need to. The only thing I'm not getting is the market is pretty good right now, and they're giving them 3 months of paid leave. So I'm expecting that this was a more significant decision that might meet the eye. Otherwise, you probably would not do that. Anyway, what was also interesting was to read that Paxos, the CEO of that, will apparently go nails and heads and toes or whatever the frick to defend Binance USD in court. Didn't expect that. I know Paxos does not want to let go of BUSD because, well, that's going to cost them a lot of money. But I didn't expect them to actually fight the lawsuit to this degree. This is, again, if a lawsuit actually comes up, because as of this point, it's just a warning as far as I'm concerned. But it's still good to know. Talking about this whole warning and regulatory front and exchanges in that nature, I guess not really, but okay. FTX Japan has apparently resumed withdrawals in fiat and crypto. The withdrawals will be facilitated by Liquid Japan, and FTX received permission to sell its Japanese entities. So for anybody that is having a FTX Japan account, that is a very big deal for you, and congratulations to you for getting that. A little bit about Hong Kong. I know I'm just adding different pieces of crypto news together, but that's what I like to do here, just give you all the different pieces. Hong Kong proposes rules for crypto trading platforms. We saw recently that Hong Kong was getting more and more bullish on crypto. This is a little bit of a caveat. I'm not sure I'm happy with this specific announcement, right? It's a little bit in the middle because rules for crypto trading is always, you're not sure if this is going to be good or bad, but the fact that progressing on this is definitely, in my opinion at least, a very good piece of news. I'm happy to see that they're progressing. So again, I'm not sad. In terms of crypto exchanges though, again, I've not done the most amount of research on this specific matter. It's said that Coinbase was hacked and some data was stolen. Not your money, but apparently some data was taken away from here. Now, when reading through, it's a little bit less severe. It says an unknown threat actor went to great lengths to try and compromise the internal systems belonging to one of the world's most popular crypto exchange platforms using a phishing attack. And so what was said, according to Coinbase, is that the customer funds as well as all the customer data are safe and sound. So I'm not too sure exactly what sensitive data was stolen. It just says here the hacker initially sent out 5 phishing SMS messages to Coinbase employees, which obviously these guys are going to try, asking them to urgently log into their company accounts and read an important message. The message contained a link that impersonated the Coinbase corporate login page, but was in fact nothing more than a malicious landing page designed to steal sensitive data. And it says right here, it didn't stop these guys because, again, Coinbase has so much multi-factor authentication and has so many checks in place. It didn't stop these guys from trying, and they soon called the victim on the phone, impersonating the company's IT department, and asked them to log into the workstation and follow the different instructions. Point being, these guys got socially engineered, and apparently, apparently, let me quickly check here. Yeah, it's this section right here. Some specific employees' data was stolen, and it's a lot less severe than some previous cases, like, for example, Scatter's swine or octopus phishing campaigns, where, in this case here, 1,000 corporate access logins were attempted to steal, or at least maybe potentially even were stolen. So that would have been even worse or crazier news. One specific piece I also have for you guys here, however, is this regarding Shiba Inu. You guys know I don't cover Shiba Inu on a daily basis, but it is one of those cryptocurrencies that just has a lot of stuff going for itself, and it still has a sizable chunk of my portfolio, so I like to cover it every now and then. Lead Shiba Inu developer unveils plans for revolutionary Shibarium platform. All you need to understand here is that I've said before, and I'll say it again, Shiba Inu is one of those coins that has so much bull market potential. It did extremely well last bull market, and I think it's going to do it again this bull market because of the way in which they've been building in comparison to Dogecoin and to like Dogelon Mars, all those meme coin relative brothers of Shiba Inu basically. They've been building a lot on their metaverse and their game, and that's one of the best things because, well, they're pretty high up in the rankings in terms of market cap already for a meme coin. But the fact that they right now are also like a metaverse gaming type of crypto with one of the biggest communities in crypto, it's like a plus, plus, plus. It is so smart for their branching out basically throughout the next couple of months. You know, there's many meme coins with a game behind it, but these guys already have the biggest meme coin community out there, and potentially behind Doge, but Doge is not doing as much. So the fact they already will have so many just interactive people straight from the get-go, plus they had a lot of hype, they potentially could get them back in the major bull run with these campaigns of Shiba Inu to $1, Shiba Inu to a cent, etc., etc., etc. I just think it might just have a lot of success. Anyway, that was my opinion on the matter, and that was all the news that we have for today. So guys, hopefully you all enjoyed this little crypto update. If you did, make sure you press the like button and subscribe to the channel. And yeah, we'll be back tomorrow with another cool news update. Tomorrow I will be in well, you'll see tomorrow where I'll be. And that was it for today's video. Hopefully you guys all enjoyed it. See you later.